Now, if your goal as a dividend investor is to build out a long-term portfolio that not only can sustain your monthly expenses, but also even surpass them, then this video specifically is going to be perfect for you. Now, over the last almost decade, I've been buying different dividend-paying stocks and ETFs every single day the market's been open, spending sometimes upwards of $10,000 per month. I mean, investing is my biggest expense to this day. On different dividend-paying stocks and ETFs and taking all the dividends that I'm paid out every single month, which as of right now is around $8,000 per month, reinvesting those into more shares of some of my favorite dividend-paying stocks and ETFs, and just doing that all over again, month after month after month. Now, over the past decade, I now have $1 to $2 million invested and over $93,000 per year in dividends coming in. But in this video, I'm going to share with you guys a 3 ETF portfolio. This is what I'm going to call the Freedom Portfolio. This portfolio is going to offer you some growth, some dividend growth, but along with that is going to offer a boatload of income generation. Now, this could be a portfolio that an investor could utilize if they wanted to reach financial freedom, and is a portfolio I wish I would have learned about, especially in my early days of investing. So if this sort of thing interests you at all, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. Now, the first ETF in this 3 ETF Freedom portfolio is going to be my personal favorite ETF across the entire markets, and that's ticker symbol SCHD. Now, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF is my personal favorite ETF because it's cheap to hold on to, with a total expense ratio of just 0.06%. Its objective is to track as closely as possible before fees and expenses the total return of the Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index, which is a well-diversified index full of different dividend payers, different stocks that have grown their dividends over time, etc. Now, along with that, this ETF has grown over time significantly as far as price return goes, but even more important than that to me, this ETF has paid dividends and more in dividends year after year after year. Now, as a dividend investor, what more are you really looking for other than having an asset that's going to grow over time, having an asset that's going to pay you around 3.5% starting yield, but along with that offer dividend growth, which means you're going to get raises on your dividends for doing absolutely nothing. Now, because of that, I always say that this ETF sort of is a one-stop shop for dividend investors. And for most investors out there that do want growth, dividends, and dividend growth, this ETF could be perfect. Now, even though SCHD offers all of that, if you do want to build out a freedom portfolio, you're not only going to need all the things that this ETF offers, you're going to need to have exposure to a boatload of cash flow too, because again, how are you going to find freedom if it's not for consistent cash flow? Which brings me into the number 2 ETF in this 3 ETF Freedom portfolio, GPIQ, the Goldman Sachs NASDAQ 100 Core Premium Income ETF. This ETF provides core equity exposure to the NASDAQ 100, which has a lot of growth potential, is highly volatile at times, but then with that dynamically sells call options, allowing for participation with rising markets, which historically the NASDAQ 100 has risen a lot over time, but also along with that has potential of performance and negative to flat markets because of the cover call overlay, providing premiums which then are turned into income. The ETF's objective is seeks current income while maintaining prospects for capital appreciation. Now, if you want to seek freedom, you're going to need to have cash flow and also a ton of growth. And this ETF basically has the potential to do both, again, depending on what happens with the NASDAQ 100 because that's the underlying. Now, reasons to consider this one is it seeks consistent monthly distributions, aims to generate a consistent monthly distribution rate, generally from option premiums and equity dividends. Now, the reason this ETF could potentially be perfect for a freedom ETF is because, at least historically, it's paid out a very consistent amount of income to investors every single month. We're talking around 40 cents pretty steadily every single month to investors for every single share that they have. Now, again, an ETF that pays 40 cents per share per month is going to be a lot more cash flow than you're going to see across the market, even when it comes to some of the higher yielding dividend offerings, at least when I'm talking about single dividend stocks. So 40 cents per share per month, more or less, NASDAQ 100 core exposure through an income-oriented setting. This ETF is honestly perfect, in my opinion. Again, if the NASDAQ 100 plays nice, because there's going to be a ton of cash flow, potential at least, just like what this ETF has done historically. So far we have some dividend growth from SCHD, we have some NASDAQ 100 exposure and income potential from GPIQ, but lastly we're going to want to add some S&P 500 high income exposure from SPYI. Now SPYI is awesome because it offers S&P 500 exposure, but does so through a cover call strategy. It's tax efficient because the actively managed NEOS fund seeks to take advantage of tax loss harvesting opportunities in addition to utilizing SPX index options classified as Section 1256 contracts. Now these are going to be subject to lower tax rates, but along with that, this ETF also returns a lot of its distributions in the form of ROC or return of capital, which also can be very tax friendly. Now with this ETF, we're talking a 12% distribution rate, so it's much higher than that of even the previous ETF we talked about, GPIQ, and much higher than SCHD. Now because of this ETF strategy, it's not going to offer that much growth potential, but still with building out a freedom portfolio, you're going to again want to have some exposure to cash flow, which this ETF is definitely going to deliver. We're talking around 50 cents per share per month is what this ETF has delivered so far to investors since inception. Now again, any ETF is only as good as its underlying holdings and strategy, so if you're not bullish on the S&P 500 for whatever reason, then this ETF might not be perfect for you. But for me personally, in my portfolio, I want more and more S&P 500 exposure, which is one of the main reasons I'm choosing to buy a ton of this ETF over the next year or so. So there we have it. That's a very simple yet effective 3 ETF freedom portfolio that's going to offer you tax efficient growth and income, some exposure to the S&P 500, but also the NASDAQ 100, and of course SCHD, which is almost as perfect as any dividend ETF in my opinion. Now what's cool about the stock market is that if you want more growth potential, you can buy into different stocks or ETFs that might offer that, or if you're like me and you want a little bit more income potential with a slight bit of growth, there's tons of different assets out there for you. But the reality is, in my opinion, cash flow, consistent cash flow on a monthly basis is going to make life a lot easier in most realms, which is why over the last decade I've been building out a portfolio that's offered a ton of cash flow, and I'm still investing to this day into more and more cash flowing stocks and ETFs. Now before you guys go, out of that 3 ETF freedom portfolio, I have one last question for you down below. Out of SCHD, GPIQ, and SPYI, if you could for whatever reason only hold on to one of them, which one would it be and why? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.